Hey everyone, it's me, Jonah, and today we're going to be talking about creativity in the humanity race. Now, if we're talking about humans, we gotta go back to the roots. Looking back, we can really see that the ball started rolling when we started rolling stuff around with wheels. And from there, stuff really kicked off for humans because up to that point, we weren't really doing stuff. We were just moving around mud piles into different places to see what fit and what didn't fit, smashing stuff with bones. But as soon as we got that wheel rolling, we stopped crouching and slouching all over the place, and we got a better posture, and our brains started getting bigger and smarter. And then we went crazy. We started making all sorts of stuff. We made radios and rocks that were
this
big
thing called school.
you could
and
sit
school
inside
was
of
really
one.
interesting because
made
you go
little
there
shopping
and you learn
carts
stuff.
that you
but you
could
can learn stuff
carry
on
stuff
your own
around.
instead
We
of having
invented
people
sliced
do it
bread,
for you.
and
But
I'm not one to judge.
bigger
You can do whatever
knives
you want. I'm just saying that's
stuff.
how it was. And Mr. School, the guy who invented school, that's just what he said he wanted. And yep. And then we had some ancient civilizations like these Egyptians and the Greeks. And the Greeks, they made all sorts of plays and stuff, and then they had this whole art thing that happened, and that was pretty neat. But then these guys came and they ruined everything and they killed everyone. But it was okay because we got through the stupid ages and we figured stuff out. And then, we figured some stuff out, not everything, but we started writing stuff on paper, and we also had a cowboy era, and then we had cooler vehicles. We got rid of horses, so that was the end of the cowboy era. But then we got even better vehicles that could fly around, and so that was the end of the peace era. But then we were like, we should probably have peace. So we started calling people on our telephones. But then the telephones got better, and from there we went to better food, and we could eat more because had better brains, and we could drive through trees because we were the masters of nature and of the universe, and we gave up on viewing things normally in 3D because video games became more realistic, and we wanted to indulge in the video game era, and we also went into space and wanted to get off this stupid planet, and we also invented FaceTime so we could talk to our family and friends even when we weren't with them. And then we had
they were
space
really cool.
wars, and we shot each
But
other.
I don't want to talk about
Slow
movies because the movies got pretty cool.
is still the best,
We
and I
were
love.
seeing new
We
CGI
also
special
started
effects.
I don't know what this
making
thing
new
is, but
things.
it's
Watch
so
Dwayne The Rock
pretty
Johnson
futuristic.
as a scorpion.
That's banana shit.
If you wanted to,
Fly in that
was
one.
that in The Mummy too, or is that its own
Series.
movie?
I think that was a little robot. I don't know. I know Dwayne The Rock Johnson eating like
medium-sized
big bags of chips, like
very
all over that
families.
I've
always needed
and then we
very
became
self-control.
masters of everything, and here we are now. But no, let's dial it back a bit. Although history's all cool and whatnot, I think we should go back and start talking about all this literature stuff that I mentioned in that little tangent. Reading and literature has so much potential for creativity, especially for humans, and I feel we should look in there and see all this stuff we can find, and go humans. Okay, it's Oedipus time. Oedipus Rex was written by Sophocles, and the play follows Oedipus as he does the dirty to his mom and really goofs to an all-new extreme, to the point where he doesn't even want to see his goof anymore, so he pokes his eyes out. The most creative thing to come out of this story isn't exactly the story, but more so the means of how it was conveyed, or how it was presented to a public audience. You see, all the Greeks liked shows with 2 people at most on stage at a time. This was to help the peasants' feeble little brains process what was going on at all times. Because you can't follow 3 people, you only have 2 eyes. Sophocles, a true brainiac and the true brain cell, wasn't going to follow the herd. No, Sophocles would do the unthinkable. Add a 3rd actor. Sophocles would go on to win first prize in the Dionysia competition and also win a couple Grammys and I think an Emmy, but I might be wrong about that. This is the most extravagant outfit I've ever seen in my entire life. Could he use any more bells? Faustus was written by Christopher Marlowe, and it's about a guy who loves himself so much he accidentally sells himself short and then ends up going to hell. That's looking like a tragedy. Anyway, people weren't into the plays that much anymore. They thought they were too boring. They'd rather go watch the 2 o'clock guillotine sesh, you know, the one thing that we all regret bringing over from the stupid ages? Yeah, that one. To deal with this, Marlowe thought creatively and devised a way to keep the people's interest. One scene would have boring, depressing, moody, teenage heartthrob goo-goo stuff happening, and then the next scene would be a couple of cool, funky, cool guys starting a riot, or hitting on women or something, you know, something really manly. Also, Faustus created the whole angel and devil on your shoulders thing, which was the coolest thing I've ever seen in cinematic history, and I wish that was real, but it's not. Oui. Hey, so the 1910s were actually kind of a bad year for creativity in books and stuff, because I looked it up and the only other book I could find that came out in that year was Disney's Tarzan. Yeah, so I don't know what's up with that. But hey, we actually had a pretty good thing going on with Franz Kafka's book, The Metamorphosis, the book about the sad guy who turns into a sad bug. But what was really creative about this work was how Kafka implemented his hip new ideology of existentialism, and how we're really alone in the universe, emphasized by Gregor being unable to interact with his family despite being among them. Yeah, I don't know how to end this bugtastic book, so we're just gonna... Okay, so Grendel by John Gardner is by John Gardner, but it's based off of something by a different guy from a different book called Beowulf. And a lot of the same stuff happens, like Beowulf still sees Grendel and Grendel sees Beowulf, and they get in a big old fight, and they're throwing slugs and punches, and Beowulf wins, and he goes home, and he has a good, nice long sleep after his big old fight, but the difference can be equated to that of Dadaism. Dadaism was an art movement that was anti-art and made fun of how preppy art was. So in the same way, Grendel, in a creative twist, makes the monster out to be a reasonable and relatable monster despite the pre-existing stereotypes existing around monsters. So, just like Dadaism, Grendel takes its source material and flips it on its head and truly makes itself its own. Oh boy, is this book creative. Okay, so here we have Italo Calvino, the genius himself. Mwah! I've never seen better writing in so many different flavors. This man's writing skills know no bounds. He writes a Mexican standoff. He writes a weird Weekend at Bernie's story, a hentai, and he can even write real life. But throughout all these stories, there's a connecting factor in that they all have something to do with love triangles. Every chapter I feel like I don't even know what love is anymore, and Calvino, you're not helping. But anyway, all joking aside, it's important to see that this man can write very creatively in different styles and forms, and it feels like different people are writing every single chapter, and frankly, it's amazing that he can do that, and it's just a shining example of how creative a person can be. Well, that's all the time I have. I've got to get to bed before midnight or else my mommy will get very mad at me. So to answer the question, what does it mean to be human? The answer is creativity, because humans are very creative. I mean, look at all this. Did you even listen to what I was saying? Oh, okay, thanks for watching. I actually am going to bed now, though. I'm tired. Bye!